What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the No Contest podcast. I'm Max Brodsky, your host. On this episode, we are going to talk Heat-Knicks, specifically get into the bulk of the series. We have newcomer Jaden Damesek on the podcast, big Knicks fan. Then we have Logan Citron, big Heat fan, myself, Heat fan as well. So we're going to talk big Heat-Knicks series coming up, round two. Jimmy Butler. Then we're going to get into the Western Conference. All right, and then we'll get into our finals predictions, and then I have a little bit of a blind resume for the boys, test out their knowledge a little bit. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. All right, so we have newcomer to the pod, Jaden Damesek from my fraternity at U Tampa. Big Knicks fan. I'm sure he's excited that the Knicks have made it to the second round and are now facing the Miami Heat and not the Bucks. I'd be happy if I were him, that I wouldn't have to face a nice Milwaukee team. And then we have Logan, a recurring guest on the show, big basketball guy, basketball analyst. He likes it when I say basketball analyst. So we're
Nice
gonna
title.
start. Yeah, I'm just gonna start just with feelers, man. Like, how are we feeling going into this second round thus far? The playoff matchups. Have you enjoyed these playoffs to start, Jaden?
Yeah, I've actually enjoyed almost every single game I've watched. I feel like we've had a lot of crazy battles, and I feel like there's been a lot of unexpected outcomes. I know the Celtics just wrapped it up last night, but the Hawks actually gave them a pretty good run for their money. And then besides the Sixers series, everything's been competitive. I've been on the Kings bandwagon, and that might be coming to an end. We don't know, but it's been a fun playoffs. I'm enjoying what I'm watching.
Yeah, I've thought it's like, I don't know. I feel like these, other than like the Sixers series and a couple other series, I think the Warriors Kings series is great. Once De'Aaron Fox went down with his hand injury, I was like, fuck. And then he came back and started playing in the next game. So I was pretty happy that he came back and fought through it. Unlike, Kawhi Leonard per se. Uh,
It's unfortunate.
but Logan,
I'm
how
on
are we
Stephen A.
feeling?
bandwagon.
Yeah, hey, listen, man. Hey,
I'm gonna
if he
let
wanted to play,
JJ
he
Redick
would.
just roast you. I'm letting JJ Redick roast you on that comment. No,
How are we
I
feeling,
first
Logan?
want to
Just to
say,
start after these first rounds.
first off, I just want to roast Maxwell Brodsky for talking about Mikal Bridges and how good the Nets are going to be. Nets in seven was a pretty hot take by Maxwell. That was on. That was a
Hey,
few weeks
I
ago.
was just messing around, Got to give the viewers what they want.
Yeah, I don't need to roast Max much anymore. But well, that'll come up later. No, man, it's been nice. I'm pretty damn happy with the Heat, how they played. I don't know how they did it. I'm still in shock on that damn buzzer beater. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy. I don't know what else to say. He could be man from God, maybe a man of God. Uh, and I'm just in love with that. But other than that, no, I think the Warriors are really going into their true form. Wiggins is playing basketball at a really high level. They needed that a lot. And then you've got as Jaden was saying with the Hawks, I Ice Trey game five, humongous game winner. Anyway, I mean that was just fun to watch. I'm kind of sad they lost, and Trey could shoot better than 35%. Maybe they win that game. Um, Anywho, next round though, you got Kings of the East. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously not Milwaukee. F them. I don't need to curse right now, but fuck Milwaukee. I don't care. And yeah, no, just to let you guys carry on. I'm excited to see what
Yes.
kind of play of basketball we got.
No, these games for first round series have been really good. I think we've seen kind of a couple more upsets than we've thought we were expecting to see. But I'm going to start with this Kings Warriors series. It looks like now that the Warriors beat the Kings in their house, they beat them in that palace. How if the Warriors do win this game, will they make it to the finals or potentially win the finals, Jaden?
I think the finals might be a stretch, although they do look really damn good right now. I think the West is a little busier than I thought. The Lakers have honestly impressed me from what I've been watching. So I don't know if they'd make it past them. I don't know if they'd make it past the Suns either. Um, but yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, they won on the road finally. They haven't gotten a road win in a long time. And a lot of people say the series kind of starts there. So I don't think the Kings are going to be able to close it out or at least win in the Chase Center to push it to seven, sadly. Who would the Warriors be playing next round? Is that they wouldn't be playing the
I
Suns? They'd be playing
I believe it's
Winner.
I believe it's Suns would play the Lakers, no?
Suns would play the Lakers.
Or
So
no,
Memphis,
am I
winner of
wrong?
Memphis, LA. 3-6
It,
plays 2-7.
oh, okay.
So winner of LA, Memphis goes on to play Golden State. That's just pretty crazy for a
That'd be
second round of the
crazy.
playoffs.
So we
be
probably
crazy.
if the Lakers win tonight. Lakers Warriors.
I would hope the Lakers
Yeah.
can close it out tonight. I've honestly enjoyed a lot of the Laker basketball I'm watching. I think the Warriors, they've put it together a lot. I like how they're bringing Draymond Green off the bench. I think that's honestly been really helpful, especially offensively. You don't see Draymond having these offensive outpours often, but he had, I think it was 20 the other night on like some really efficient shooting. So they have a lot going on for them. Poole, I don't think he had a single turnover last game either, which is really impressive for him.
That's a monumental
That
achievement
is
for Jordan
monumental.
Poole.
So
That's never
seems like
happened.
it seems like things are actually clicking for them. I don't know if they can make it past the Lakers because this Laker team has just impressed me so much, and they have a lot of different pieces that they can pull out, throw at you, and kind of have really good offense. So that would be a pretty interesting matchup. But in terms of the Warriors to the finals, I think they have still a tough path ahead.
Yeah, I think
do
the
you
only
do you
reason
agree?
I called you
Do
guys
you agree,
out.
Logan?
The only reason I called out your second round matchup knowledge is because one, I'm the basketball analyst, so I know everything about that. And two, I have it right in front of me, so that's just why I knew that.
I mean, yeah, I
Uh,
figured you pulled it up.
do I know? Do I think that the Warriors will carry all
Do
the
you
way to
agree
the
with what Jaden
finals?
said? Do you agree that the Warriors won't, if the finals are a stretch?
I agree. No, I think it really just depends on how Steph can Steph sustain a 30-point plus a game performance every single. He's shooting 50+% from what I've seen. Uh, I don't know if that's sustainable for him. I mean, he's Steph Curry, but if Jordan Poole steps up, that's their X factor. He has been really hit or miss in these playoffs. Played pretty well the other day, and it wasn't even that great. But they've got some guys. The size is an issue. Looney has to play big. He's really their only rebounder apart from Draymond off the bench. I do like that play off the bench. He had 20 plus points off the bench on 80% shooting, which is unheard of from Draymond. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So, but anyway, Game 6, I think Golden State will take this series. I had him in 6 from the beginning. Uh, I foresaw it. No, I didn't, but I think they'll take it on their
No,
home
you
court.
didn't.
I didn't know this, but I picked it. Hey, man, I do know some shit. So,
What'd you have,
Warriors Lakers will be
Jaden?
fun.
What'd you have in this series? Did you
I
have like
had
a prediction beforehand?
I had
Kings
Warriors in
bandwagon.
7, even though I've been really gunning for the Kings. I've been on this Kings bandwagon. I would have loved to see them give Golden State a little more run for their money, but it seems like Golden State really figured out Sabonis. And even though Fox has
Yeah.
been balling out, like you mentioned, the hand thing kind of got in the way. And it's I mean it's Steph Curry. You can't really stop Steph Curry, especially with the defense that the Kings have been showing all year. They're not really that much of a defensive team. Like they're
Yeah.
controlling the pace of these games and they're really quick and their offense is on it. But at the same time, you have to have an answer for a guy like Steph, and they just simply didn't.
No, 100%. So let's look forward into this next series that could potentially be happening, which is Warriors Lakers. Who do you see coming out of that? Who do you see coming out of that? Logan?
First, I want to say Jordan Poole did not do good last game, so my apologies on that lie. Uh, Looney had 23 rebounds. Who's going to win that series? Warriors, Lakers? I don't remember what I picked. Now seeing this, I think Warriors will still beat them. The Lakers are deep. Can Austin Reeves maintain his level of play? I don't know. They've got, they got a lot of players, but AD remains a question mark all the time. I think the Warriors have 4 guys you can count on a given, Draymond, Clay, Curry, and Wiggins. And I will mention Poole. I think Warriors win that series in 6. They get home court. Um, I think that'll be interesting, but I think the Warriors pull that out. Love LeBron, but not that much.
Jaden, do you agree? What do you think?
I honestly disagree, and I know it's tough because it's hard not to put the Warriors, especially what they did last year in the playoffs. I think the Lakers have a real good chance of winning that series. I think it would go to maybe 6 or 7, but they do have a bunch of guys that on any given night can sort of go off. We've seen it from Rui Hachimura a few times now. We've seen it from Austin Reeves almost all of the playoffs, and honestly, the last like month or two of the season. Like you mentioned, Logan, like AD is kind of I wouldn't say an X factor, but uh, he has to be Anthony Davis for them to even have a shot that series. I think the Warriors' size, even though they lack it, they still have that kind of gritty defense with Wiggins and Looney and Draymond. So it's going to be a tough series. I think it's going to be interesting no matter what. But if guys are clicking, if D'Angelo Russell can actually play basketball and a lot of these guys have consistent games, which you can't fully count on, I could see the Lakers winning in 6 or 7.
I tend to agree. I think the Lakers will come out with that series. I like the way they're playing basketball right now, and I agree. I think that anybody on that team, or they have enough guys on that team that can come out and give you 20, can give you 30 if you really need it. I think they do have those kind of guys, and I think that they have more guys than the Warriors. The only thing is the Warriors have Steph Curry, which is an issue for a lot of teams, especially in the playoffs, and especially lately in the playoffs, especially the past like 3 or 4 years of Steph Curry in the playoffs. He's been more. I feel like he's been more of an issue than he was when they were winning all those finals. He's more of an issue now. Because he is more of the focal point on the team, and he's the main scorer, and he's just that kind of dude. Um, so yeah, it's really tough. But if I had to choose, I'd go Lakers in 7. That's what I would go.
My only
Well, like,
counter with this, what about, who's guarding Steph? I mean, who's picking up that matchup? I know Vanderbilt's a great defender, but who else really plays defense on that team? Is Troy Brown the guy? I just don't
No,
know who's
you're
gonna cover
right.
that.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because I think the Warriors can cover the Lakers. I think Draymond will have to guard LeBron, which is going to be fun to watch. But I don't know. I think can Looney guard AD is a question too. But
Hmm.
Looney's been averaging 20 boards, I don't know, 15, 18 boards a game. Anyway, that's why I picked the Warriors in that series. But I do agree the Lakers are very damn good. So we'll see what happens. I like your
Yeah,
picks.
I
facts.
do
And then
think the
let's quick.
Lakers.
Go ahead.
Oh
Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
No. Go ahead. Go
I mean,
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
think the Lakers in general, they've been, been pretty damn good defensively, at least the later stretch of the season after the trade deadline. I know it's a huge testament to Jared Vanderbilt, but I also think this series is going to come down to like, can Darvin Ham really handle it too? Because, like you mentioned, stopping Steph, you're going to have the right perimeter defenses set. And I think, we've seen throughout this Grizzlies series that although the Lakers, I think, are just a better team simply, Darvin Ham, likes to pull out Anthony Davis sometimes, and, the Grizzlies will go on a run. He's still figuring out the rotations, which I understand, and going against a guy like Steve Kerr, who has, so many rings on his finger, like it's going to be a difficult matchup for him. So that in that facet, I can see the Warriors probably winning in even less games, but I don't know. You can't count out LeBron and the Lakers. You really can't.
Yeah, you can never count out LeBron. Come on now. All right, so let's shift gears really quick and let's talk for maybe like 2 minutes. Let's give our takes on Suns Nuggets, is right? Because right, that's the next series in the Western Conference.
Sadly,
All right, let's give our
Suns.
take. How many games will the Suns or Nuggets win? I'll start with Jaden.
This is a tough one because these are two pretty powerhouse teams, especially when it comes to offense. But I think the Suns, if they can look like a cohesive basketball team, because I know Kevin Durant got there on the more recent side and he's still sort of figuring out their offense fully. It's putting Jokic in drop coverage is like it's like the Suns would feast on that all day. Booker has been probably the best player in the playoffs aside from Jimmy. You Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant, and I think if Chris Paul's getting guys in their spots and they're taking advantage of the lack of defense that the Nuggets have, I can't see the Nuggets winning that series. I'd probably take Suns in 5 or 6, honestly.
Hmm. Wow. Logan.
So I'm just thinking about, yeah, playing drop. I mean, you saw what the Heat did to the Bucks in drop coverage with Brook Lopez. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you can play that kind of defense against. Um, you can't play it against the Suns. I mean, Aiton will probably shoot you in the midi, um, unless we're talking about the other side of it. But no, in this series, I think I'm picking. I got Suns at 6, pretty confidently. Jamal Murray's been great. Jokic obviously has been great, and Mike MPJ's been pretty damn good too. But on the other side, you have Devin Booker, the best probably playoff performer so far. I'm gonna say Jimmy just based on his shooting percentage and averages. Jimmy's averaging 37 and a half. We're not talking about that though. D Book has been playing ball. Kevin Durant's on that team. Chris Paul's been actually playing well. I think the Suns will do it. I think they're going to beat him in six. I like Torrey Craig as well. Pretty small X factor, not really, but
Big Torrey
no,
Craig.
Suns in six. Big Torrey Craig guy out here. Yes, sir. Yes,
He's the
sir.
man for some reason. I don't
He
know
is
why.
the man. He is.
Dude.
He's always on. He's always like the defensive player on the team who's just like that 3-and-D guy. Always with
The
every
perfect
team.
3-and-D guy. He's the best like fifth man in the lineup you could ask for that team.
Yeah. My prediction is Suns in 6. I think I go Suns in 6. I tend to agree. As much as I like the Nuggets and as much as I am an MPJ bandwagon fan, I love how he just pulls everything he sees. He doesn't look to pass at all. It's actually crazy. If you watch any highlight tape of him, it's literally just him shooting the ball. That's all it is.
Same.
It is awesome though because he's an absolute bucket. And I do think that if there is anybody that could pop off this playoffs, I feel like we always see one player rise above the occasion and pops off compared to where they were last season or during the regular season. There's always one player that tends to go off, and I think he could potentially be that one player that averages 25 plus a game in the playoffs consistently, just based off the amount he shoots and the amount he thinks about shooting alone. And just he's a shot maker, man. He is. So I like the Nuggets, but again, because of that drop coverage, because of the defense, I think Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are just going to give him issues.
Yeah, and I would say our boy Torrey Craig is shooting 55% from three in the playoffs. He had one bad
Yeah.
game at the final game, but man's
Mhm.
averaging 12 and a half a game.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, no more Torrey
All
Craig
right.
love. He gets enough.
He's
Yeah,
ice
all right,
cold.
let's-
I think
I'm gonna
Jamal Murray is going to be a really interesting factor too. I mean, we've seen him have some crazy playoff output in the past years. We don't know if he can exactly replicate that, especially coming back from injury and being just a little slower than he used to be. But
Mhm.
you know, I could see him putting up 50 in game one and us sitting there like, damn, are the Nuggets going to win this series? Like, you never know.
Yeah.
You never. I think this is going to be one of the more fun series.
All right, so we're going to get into the highly anticipated series, the rivals themselves, the old-time rivals, Knicks Heat. I know we're all ecstatic for this series because Jaden being a big Knicks fan and Logan and myself being avid Heat fans. I know there's some friendly competition that's going to go on, maybe some friendly wagers. I'll be with Jaden for like a game or two probably. So hopefully
I'll
we get
be
to
in your
watch.
ear the entire time.
Yeah, hopefully
Don't-
we get to watch one together when I'm in Tampa. But I'll start with this. All right, and before we go on and give our predictions for this series and our whole analysis, so I'll start with a question. How can the Knicks stop Jimmy Butler? What do the Knicks have to do to stop Jimmy Butler? And can you, Jaden?
I think can you is the real question because we just saw the Milwaukee Bucks, who are, one of the best defenses in the league, Drew Holiday, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Jimmy made them look like baby food, and that is something that I'm very, very scared of, very nervous about, but you never know. You never know. The Knicks, shut down Donovan Mitchell, made him look like baby food. I think Josh Hart, when he came into the starting lineup, especially played almost 48 minutes in that last game, just clamping up Donovan, making him look silly almost. Garland wasn't, finding any success, I think, besides game 2 as well, which was the only game they won. But, stopping Jimmy is a really, really tough assignment. I think it's more of not even stopping Jimmy. It's kind of preventing the rest of the team from kind of following in his footsteps and having that crazy offensive output. Because, if you can't stop Jimmy and you can still stop everyone else, I think the series is still manageable. Bam Adebayo, I think, is going to be a fire matchup for Mitchell Robinson, who had probably the best, 4 or 5 game stretch I've ever seen Mitchell play, which is crazy this last series. I think it goes both ways too in terms of can the Heat stop Jalen Brunson. I think we've been seeing Brunson kind of take over and be an insane playoff performer like we sort of did last year. It was just a teaser for what he's been doing this year. And I know you guys said on your Cavs Knicks preview pod, Brodsky, you were going on about how you can win a series with good players, but it's great players who win the series. And then you pointed to Donovan Mitchell, but the real great player throughout the series was Jalen Brunson.
No, you're
And
right. I was wrong. You're
Bronze
100% right. You're
Bronze
100%
him,
right.
bronze him.
He's an elite player. He is an
he's
elite
literally
player.
him. So I think it goes both ways, but stopping Jimmy's going to be a tough assignment regardless.
No, 100%. And I will point this out. I will treat it as this. All right. It's like when Andre Iguodala won Finals MVP for holding LeBron to like 28, 9-9 in a fucking finals. Like that's what this is. You know what I mean? It's like if you can hold Jimmy to a minimal amount of scoring compared to what he's been doing, I think that's a success in your book.
100%. Forcing the ball out of his hands would be the goal. Getting anybody else to shoot literally would be awesome. And I know the Heat have been shooting lights out. I think most of the roster is shooting about 40% from three, which is crazy, but I also don't know if that's fully sustainable. So hopefully the Knicks can.
Yeah, we were the third worst 3-point shooting team in the entire NBA, or fourth worst or something like that.
I don't get it. It's Miami every time. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Logan, what do you have to say, boss?
Well, about that, we went from a 34% 3-point shooting team to the best in the fucking playoffs, shoot 45%, and somehow, in the most unlikely fashion, I don't know what light bulb went off, but everyone's shooting ball. I'm just gonna say, Max quoted in episode 3 of the pod, if Max lived in New York, he would be a Nets fan over the Knicks. I don't know how that was said or why that was said, because I'm kind of a Knicks fan when I'm not a Heat fan, just family up there, and this is a tough series. But Max is just getting blown up on these takes. I mean, the Nets. No,
I mean, like I'd still be a Nets guy. I think I'd still be a Nets guy.
Anywho, that's fine. But to answer Max's question, can the Knicks stop Jimmy Butler? Absolutely fucking not. Can Jimmy fucking be stopped? He is Michael Jordan 2.0. Jimmy cannot be stopped. You can double the guy. You can throw the whole fucking team at him. That's fine. You got Bam Ed Rice out of bio. There's no stopping Jimmy buckets. He'll shoot over the top. He'll fucking put you in the post. He'll baby all your players. He'll make. I don't know who's gonna guard in the series. Barrett? Is RJ gonna have to step up and guard Jimbo?
No,
Butler, Fisher?
I
don't even know.
I think Grimes and Hart will take turns.
If you take two guys to throw at Butler at a time, whether it's Hart, Grimes, or RJ, like I would personally shit my pants if they were guarding. Like it's a tough matchup.
Jimmy won't. Jimmy won't. Jimmy will not.
I know Jimmy. I'm not saying Jimmy will. I'm not saying Jimmy will. Jimmy's the type of player to tell Drew Holiday down 5 that he owns him, which is unbelievable.
Bro, that is crazy. That is crazy.
I've never seen anything like that. Seriously.
And go ahead, Logan.
I will say, I mean, the double could be scary for Jimmy, but you got to lean on these players to come out and shoot the ball. If we're shooting like we're shooting, you can't double Jimmy, which was the issue in the Bucks series. They couldn't double him. So Drew Holiday was getting cooked. He was shooting 65+% on every freaking defender, 86% on Giannis. He was shooting 67% on Bobby Baby Portis with bubbly eyes popping out of his fucking head. And I don't know how, but anyway, Jimmy could be unguardable. He's got to play out of his mind to really have a say in the series, but
I think the fact that the Bucks didn't even attempt to double him enough is crazy to me. I think Mike Budenholzer needs to be held at the stake. I'm surprised we haven't seen him report. I'm surprised we haven't seen him reporting on NBA TV for the past couple of years, but he still has his job somehow, which is crazy. But I can't see him in a coaching position after this.
No,
I
don't think so either.
That defense. The last game, playing drop, letting Bam bring up the ball. You can't let that happen. I mean, he tore that defense apart. But it's about Jimmy. Can we stop Jimmy? Can you guys stop Jimmy? I don't. It'll have to be seen. Max, any takes by you? You as the mediator
no, listen, I mean, it's going to be really tough to stop Jimmy. It is really tough to stop Jimmy, obviously, as we've seen. I think take this for what you want, but this is probably the most Michael Jordan mindset of a player that we've seen since Kobe. No?
Fully.
No, he's
mindset. Strictly just up here. Strictly just in the brain. How they think. Go about their way. They go about their work. Play in games. Not that we saw Michael Jordan take off in the regular season, but he's just a different animal in the playoffs. There's just a different gear that he gets to compared to other players, and it is absolutely insane. It's not And even though Devin Booker is scoring 37 points a game just like Jimmy, like it's the same kind of deal. It's the fashion and the way that Jimmy's doing it. These comebacks. He came back from 10-point down. Um, he was down 10 points in the fourth quarter both times, both games. He scored 47 and 56. Like it's actually nuts how he's doing it. It's not like they're up and they have to keep this lead. Like they're down the entire time. So do I think that the Knicks can stop him? No. Do I think that they can sustain 25 to 30 points out of Jimmy? Yes, I do think they can hold him to that. Um,
Adding
But
adding on to the sorry, so the way that he does it is just nuts because Booker's got KD, he's got Ayton, he's got Chris Paul, Jimmy has Bam and the others, the whites,
got Duncan
the
Robinson.
others, man. Like he really doesn't have anyone, and he just finds a way to do it, and he just comes back. He leads these 8-0 runs. We were down by 8 with like 3 to go. He goes on an 8-0 run by himself. It's kind of insane how 22 points in a row, 20 in a row in the beginning of game, 4. It's just stupid. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
yeah, it is.
The way
It,
he
it is
carried,
crazy.
the way he carries himself is absolutely nuts. He really is like the definition of him. And like, did you guys see the video of the Heat celebrating in the locker room after they won? And you
Yes,
see
sir.
everyone's jumping around in a circle, and you see Jimmy in the back just standing there, like complete drinking water. He knows the job's not finished. Like he is that type of player. You see
Crazy.
guys like you mentioned Booker, like Booker does these post game interviews, and like every time he wins, he's like laughing off questions and shit. Like Butler just knows he has the right mindset. He's a
There's
guy that you
something
really
about it, man. He just puts it all on the line. Everything he has, every ounce. Like he literally pours it into that one game. It is crazy, and somehow he regenerates that and gets it for the next game and the next game and the
Yeah,
next game. It's really
40,
crazy.
42 minutes. I mean, good game is he averaging in the series? Well, he had played 28 in a couple.
Something
He's
like that,
playing
man. Something like
stupid
that.
minutes.
All
And
right.
you.
stupid.
So next question I have for you guys before we get to predictions is how can the Heat get through one of the deepest teams in the league? Because the Knicks are one of the deepest teams in the league. They have a full bench of starters, quality starter players, like easily. Half of them would start on the Heat's team. But to be honest with you, we have a bunch of G Leaguers. So if Jimmy Butler doesn't have it going, all right, how can we get past this deep squad of the Knicks, Logan?
Well, it starts by containing Jalen Brunson. I mean, he seemed to do everything, even without Julius Randle on the court. It was a game I was watching. Maybe it was game 4, and I think he just was out the entire. Randle was out the entire fourth quarter. It seemed they didn't need him. It was Obi running it. It was Hartenstein. It was like Brunson and Barrett and maybe uh, and Hart. And that was their 5. They didn't even need Randle. Uh, and he's averaging 25 a game. So. How can we stop it? We need to stop with Brunson. That's the core of the team. The guy is ridiculous. Everyone's passing him up for Donovan Mitchell. He didn't get Donovan Mitchell. He's Bruns him. He's the fucking guy. I wish the Heat had him. We need a point guard so bad, but you got to stop Brunson. If you can limit him to 20 a game, he'll still give you a run. And I think then it's just Bam on Randall. Brunson's good. Probably Jimmy might have to guard Brunson. Or Gabe will have to try and do it too.
Gabe.
Gabe,
Gabe.
Gabe is the
It'll be
right
Gabe.
size matchup. I think we'll be okay. And the team is deep, man. I mean, you guys have 6 guys scoring 10 plus a game. Josh Hart is a stupid addition. He's been
Mm-hmm.
outrageous. But his broke his ankle and still played through the series without an issue. I don't know how. I love the Knicks, but not when they're playing my team. And we'll have to see what happens. But starts with Brunson. That's who
Yeah.
you got to stop.
I'm gonna pose an additional question to this question, and Logan, you can answer after Jaden. But with that question, who is your X factor in this series? Who's the guy that is going to make everything happen? The X factor, Jaden.
Last series, I didn't even know going into who was really going to be that X factor. I thought it was going to be RJ Barrett, and like that did sort of work out. RJ's been playing some of the best basketball of his life. He's attacking the rim seriously like very confidently, more than I've seen him do in the past. And he's the type to attack the rim regardless, but he's actually putting a body in, drawing a foul, and actually putting the ball in the basket, which he's does not do very often. So I'll stick with my same X factor being RJ. I think both on the offensive and defensive end, if he can keep up with this Heat team, push to the basket as much as he can, and if he's going to be guarding Butler a lot, give him as much pressure as possible. I think he's a huge X factor. I think Josh Hart, what he did last series is he's the perfect playoff performer, and he could fit on any playoff team anywhere. He does literally everything. He's grinding on defense. He's pushing the ball up the floor, making the right passes. He is rebounding like any other guard in the league can, which is unbelievable. I think those two guys are some serious factors, but I think a guy like Randall or Quickly, who did not step it up last series, this is going to be a tougher matchup. So I think one of those two guys also has to step in and start really giving some good scoring. If Randall's going to be healthy, I can hope he matches his 25 points he was putting up this season. And Quickly, he fell off a lot. The last game I think he played was, a little better, but we'll see what happens. If Brunson gets shut down, I'm going to be looking to Quickly as our, scoring guard option. So we'll see.
Yeah, I know. Quickly is definitely an interesting one for me. But I agree. I think RJ is the X factor, at least for the Knicks. He has been playing better recently, but he needs to hit his threes. He needs to hit his threes. I mean, he goes off and on about just hitting it. He'll go like 3 for 6 one game and then 0 for 6 for the next game, and it's like, what are you doing? But no, I do agree. If he stays aggressive, he can definitely be the X factor of this series. And honestly, and I'm gonna say this as a Heat fan, all right, I think it is better that Tyler Hero is not playing. And I don't know why. I think defensively, we are a better defensive team without him on the floor. Offensively, obviously, we're not getting our buckets, but playoffs is about defense to me. And it's about stopping the other team, stopping the best player on the other team. And I think that these lineups that are clicking right now for the Heat are defensively focused. I don't know.
It's not a bad take. It's not a bad take. I think Hero does have a huge impact on your offense, and I think that's something you guys will definitely need down the road, especially if you're going to, push even towards the finals, for example. But yeah, the way it's looking, I mean, like we mentioned, the Heat are shooting lights out. I think what the Bucks did is probably put a slight amount of less pressure on them on the perimeter, only because Hero is out and they didn't think they were going to be shooting, they didn't think every player was going to be shooting 40%. So, it's not a crazy loss for you guys, which is pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, very surprising. But my X factor is Bam Adebayo. Logan, who's your X factor?
I'm gonna have to first say the Tyler Hero take is pretty hot. It's a very hot take. I don't disagree.
I'm not a
though,
Tyler
but-
Hero guy. I've never have been. I don't think I ever will be. So you take that for what it's worth.
So I like what he can bring as a shot creator. We need that. We do need someone to take pressure off Jimmy. I actually like Victor for that. The Victor got hurt, and I feel really bad about that. But Tyler Hero, I mean, yeah, it's a hot take, but I think the offense is just fine without him.
It's just fine.
We had one game under 120. It was
It is
119.
just
We won that
fine,
game.
bro. Like
Everyone stepped up.
defensively, we're so much better too defensively.
Agreed. And I don't know.
And
I feel
defense
bad
leads
losing
to
the guy.
offense. That's the thing. It's probably like we're not playing defense when he's on the floor. He's providing that extra offense, but we're not playing defense. Now we're playing defense, and our defense is leading to offense. If you see, we're in transition half the time.
Correct. No, I think him off the floor, transition to offense is great. Defense to offense is great. I do think that Tyler is a big help. I think we can go without him though if we can keep going in the series. My X factor though, I'm not gonna say. I mean, I'm not gonna say Jimmy. Well, one is rebounding. It's not a player, but rebounding is the absolute X factor in the series. And my X factor is gonna be Kevin Love. Kevin
Okay.
Love needs to be big. I was gonna pick Bam. Max took it.
You can say Bam.
Obviously, if Bam gives us 25 and 10, the series is over.
That's not
If Kevin
happening. No,
Love-
we all know that's not happening. This is just not
Exactly.
There's no
happening.
way. There's no way. Mitchell
There's no
Robinson would not
way.
let that happen.
Mitchell Rob's not that fast. Anywho,
Hey, if
I
Bam can
think
shoot the
Yeah,
midi, though,
that's
if Bam can shoot the midi, I think Mitchell Robinson's screwed. If Bam focuses on the midi this series.
Kevin Love, though, big time shots in the fourth quarter. He had some huge games, rebounding like crazy. We need the rebounds. We need him, and he's going to be a big time vet. And then we'll get more into the series on, that thing. But our X factor is Bam. He needs to be aggressive. He can't be just having 13-point fourth quarter overtime, which is when he comes alive. It needs to be every quarter. Give us what you got.
So let's go over our predictions for this series. And you guys can go on a rant, start talking, talk for however long you want. I know Logan said he wanted to talk or something earlier. So we're gonna give our predictions for Knicks Heat right now. And I will start with Logan.
Heat and 5, baby. Heat and 5. It's all over social media. It's all over the comments. Heat and 5. That's what it is. No, my real prediction though is probably Heat and 6 because we're not beating the Knicks at home. Heat and 6, but the Heat are not losing the series. Mark my words right here. Fuck the Knicks.
Oh man. Oh man.
Jaden.
It's a tough one. I think there's so many factors that go into it, but we've
So
talked about the
many.
Knicks. So many. I think the Knicks' depth is what is going to win us this series. And I also think stopping Jimmy Butler, I didn't mention it before when we talked about it, but Tom Thibodeau just coached some of the best games I've ever watched him coach ever. And I was on the Fire Tibbs bandwagon for maybe about a month this season. I went to a Knicks Magic game in a Magic jersey with Fire Tibbs duct taped on the back. I was off the Tibbs train, but he has been impressing me. And I think the fact that he's coached Jimmy Butler twice now, once on the Bulls, once on the Timberwolves, he sort of knows his ins and outs. Obviously, Jimmy has grown on as a player, especially throughout his Heat tenure. But I think, if Tibbs can make it happen and keep the defense tight and our depth is actually playing up to par with how they've been playing all season, I could see Knicks in 6 or 7. We'd have to capitalize winning some of those games in Miami. We do have home court advantage, so I do see us winning at the Garden, no problem. I can already hear the "fuck Jimmy" chants from the Garden as we speak. It's going to be a tough series. But I think the Knicks can pull it out if their depth plays up to speed and they somehow have an answer for Jimmy. Somehow.
Yeah,
So
man, it is a tough series to call for sure. But I think at the end of the day, those fuck Jimmy chants are going to be good for Jimmy.
Jimmy will
I
fucking
do, I
kill you
do,
guys if you say
I
that.
I do think that in the Garden, Jimmy will shine brighter than others. And I think it goes 7. I think Game 7 in the Garden, Jimmy closes it out.
We just saw Jimmy go off against the Bucks, who do not have that great of a home court advantage. And the last time we've seen him really go this hard in the playoffs was in the bubble when there were no fans there. I feel like the Garden, if any arena is going to rattle a player, it's going to be the Garden. And home
Look,
court
bro,
advantage, I never thought.
bro, why would it rattle
Speak,
him? See,
speak.
that's my question. Why does it rattle him? No, but why does it rattle him? Why would you think it would rattle him? When has the Garden ever rattled a player?
That's a good point in terms of the Hawks against us 2 years ago, but this is a different team. We have a much
Reggie
different team
Miller.
now.
Back in the day, it
Our
has
def
never the Garden has
Dwayne
never
Wade,
intimidated
55
anybody.
points.
The Garden has never intimidated anybody. It only elevates players' play. That's all it does.
Well,
It only
let's
elevates.
talk about Donovan Mitchell then. Donovan Mitchell had the perfect setup for him. You don't get traded to the Knicks. You go into the Garden. I
You're
was
right.
expecting
No, you're
to
right.
Donovan, and we embarrassed him. And I think if we play that same level of defense and collapse as much as we can, I don't see Jimmy doing what he just did in this last series.
No, I agree. 100%. And I predicted Donovan Mitchell going off in the Garden. I saw it coming. It was like a story was being written. You know what I mean? They don't take him. He goes off in the Garden. That's what I thought was happening.
It was all
He
for his
didn't.
taking. I thought we were going to lose in 5 to the Cavs, and it
I
was
said 6. I said Cavs in 6. I was completely wrong. And the Knicks defense is for real. but I don't think you can hold Jimmy to less than 30 points this series. I don't think you can. I think he's
I
going
don't
to
either,
go
but
off
like you mentioned, if we can hold him around there,
around there.
like you're gonna have to pray that Max Strus is having some of those games.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. All right,
But we'll
any
see.
last? Yeah,
I've been awfully
any?
quiet, so I need to come in
I
here.
was
I don't
gonna
know what
say,
the
yeah, I was
hell's
gonna
going
say,
on
yeah.
here.
Go ahead,
I've
yeah,
been
go
waiting
ahead,
patiently for my moment.
go ahead.
I'm 50 Cent, I'm Eminem, I'm all the above. And come on, you're really saying Jimmy's not going to come out in the garden and give you guys a fucking run for your money? You got to be insane. This guy has been waiting all season to show up for the moment. He hates Tibbs. He got the fuck out of Chicago. He doesn't want to fucking see this guy's face. He's going to rub everything against his little defensive game plan. Nah, I'm kidding. Tibbs is
He
a great
likes
defensive
Tibbs.
coach.
He went to Minnesota for Tibbs.
Tibbs is a
Everyone
great defensive
everyone who
coach.
plays for Tibbs likes Tibbs.
Great
Yeah,
defensive
yeah.
coach, great mind. I'm just trying to start some Jimmy banter, but nah. To say that Jimmy's not going to play well in the Garden, I don't really understand that take. I understand Donovan Mitchell got shut down. Donovan Mitchell's 25 years old, 26. The guy hasn't done anything yet. I mean,
He has a
Jimmy's
great
got
track record of being great in the playoffs, though. A great track
yeah,
record.
the
Maybe not
bubble when
last
he had.
season, but over the years.
That's what his team is. His
He
team is
does.
trash.
He had what 57 points in a playoff game with the Jazz. He's
Look,
like
I
in the
gotta.
convo with Jimmy for that 56 plus point game.
He's number three
I
all
mean,
time in playoffs,
I
sure,
mean,
but
yeah. He's been a great playoff performer for the Jazz, but I think this series was a little tough for him. New team he's with. All right, first year with the Cavs. Um, Also very young team. He's probably a vet on that team. You know what I mean? So he probably has to act more older than he actually is. What is he, like 25, 26? He probably has to act like he's an older vet, like he's 32, 33 on that team because they have nobody old.
Yeah,
So
they
I
didn't have
think,
much playoff experience, so I see that.
yeah, so I think
uh,
you got to give them a year or two, let them develop a little more. I think this was the Knicks' time. I think that's what really propelled them in the series was the veteranness that they have together.
So maybe rattled is the wrong word for Jimmy because maybe he's unrattleable. Let's put it like that. I still
Yeah.
think that this pressure, the Knicks arena, the Knicks defense, it's going to be a tough stop. It's really going to be a tough stop,
hmm
but I don't think you guys have enough options. I don't think the crazy shooting you guys have been doing is going to be sustainable. I think the Knicks can put a lot of pressure on the perimeter with all these different perimeter defenders we have. It's going to be a tough one for Miami. It would be it would be a real testament to Jimmy if he wins this series.
Woof. It would be right. It would be right.
It would
It'd
be.
be
I wasn't done
crazy.
with my segment, so
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
No,
have to
go ahead, Logan.
continue.
Sorry.
No,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry.
I'm
Go
gonna have
ahead,
to go
boss.
back to it. Look, I get you guys have great defense, great team. I'm not doubting Tibbs' ability to pull out a great defensive set against the Heat. I know what he's done. That's his mind. The team is good. The team is deep. But also, I mean, I picked, yeah, whatever. We'll go back. I picked the Knicks to beat the Cavs. I like the Knicks. They're good. They're pretty good. But also, I think the Heat just have experience in these situations. None of the players on your team have been in any of these situations before. Um, the Heat typically get the best of the Knicks in these playoff series. We got Melo, way back. That team wasn't great. I'm not gonna lie. It was just Melo, Tyson Chandler.
Yeah,
I'm forgetting about J.R. Smith maybe and a couple others, but
sharp.
this is different. It's a great team. I think Spo's coaching will probably outdo it, and if the players can execute their roles and we can out rebound you guys, if we can get close in the rebounding battle, this will be a series that the Heat will overcome. And if we get out rebounded by 7 to 8 plus a game, it's going to be very tough to get past you guys. I think the Knicks are a hell of a team. I was a little worried when I saw them win. I didn't want it to be so quick. But I think the Heat have a good chance if everything plays the same way. If we can play up to that level, I think I'm still going Heat in 6 just for that reason. Rebounding is huge, Bam is huge, Jimmy is huge, and the supporting cast is even bigger. That's
The
Yeah.
my take.
rebounding, the rebounding is huge. I'm shocked we out rebounded the Cavs so well because the Cavs, I mean, you're starting two bigs basically, and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley,
Yep.
they
Bro,
saw the
fucking
light.
Hartenstein. Fucking Hartenstein. Like, who is
Hartenstein,
that?
man. Hartenstein's also him. Like if you look
He's
at his
been balling.
advanced stats from the Clippers last year, he looked like the best player in the league. Like it made no sense. Like he's one of the better bench centers you'll find in this entire league, and he's made a name for himself this season. He had a rough start, but he's been awesome for us. Especially there were a few games that Mitch missed, or where Mitch is just not having the right mindset. I don't like Mitchell Robinson is kind of he's a toss up when it comes down to mindset and being locked in. I don't know if you guys ever seen on Twitter, he'll go on some rants about needing more touches when in reality
He
he's not really
does.
an offensive
Oh,
guy. And so
good.
Hartenstein stepped up to the plate in terms of that. And Hartenstein doesn't really need those touches. He's had multiple double-digit offensive or rebound, not offensive, just rebounding games with 0 points this year, which is wild. I don't know how he pulls that off. I think our rebounding is huge though, and I think that along with our depth is what's going to win us the series.
Are we going to any Heat-Knicks games? Are we going Saturday
I know
or
Jaden,
Monday?
like, do you want to come down or some shit?
I might do
The family's
Monday.
going to be here for graduation, but
Oh,
like
that's
I
right.
feel
You're graduating. You're
the
graduating. And
Knicks
I'll be
matter
in
more than
Tampa.
graduation.
You gotta go
The Knicks
Monday
matter more than
next.
graduating right now.
I know.
So we'll see.
I might have to go to a game Monday.
Game 4, I might go.
I might have
Throw,
to. If
throw,
you
throw
want
your
to get
supporters to the
ticks, if
grand.
you want to get ticks, let me know, Logan. I'd be down.
I'm in it. I'm in it.
I'll
Yeah,
pop
got
that.
this. I got my Jimmy shirt. Haven't washed it in probably 2 weeks. Every single game of the Heat Buck series, I wore it and I just let it sit and air out, and I can't wash it till we really lose the series. So
That's
I'm a
funny.
fucking weirdo and I'm riding with it.
Is it true? I assume you guys have been to plenty of Heat games. Is it true that like there aren't as many fans there as it looks on TV? I don't know what it is, but every time I watch a Heat
Oh,
game, I feel like the
So,
stands look a little empty. Is that crazy?
first
so
quarter, second quarter. Max, you explained it though.
yeah. So the first quarter, I don't think you understand Miami traffic and Spanish time. So
Miami
the
time.
two collide. They bump heads with each other, and
Uh-huh.
and
No
it
one's
makes
there.
for a very late appearance to a basketball game.
I went to the Bulls. I was at the Bulls playing game, and there was no one there until 8:30 left in the second quarter. And my buddy is a Bulls fan.
Oh
I brought
shit.
him to the game, and he was like, "Dude, what? Dude, you have no fans here? Like, what the hell?" And in the third quarter, we were down 6, and we hit a three. The stadium's erupting. But no, you can't watch the game till the second half starts. It's stupid, and it
Why is
looks
my
horrible on the
camera?
fans.
It does. It looks bad on TV. I feel bad almost because it's not the true representation of your guys' culture. Like you guys have a crazy
No, because
fan
by
base.
the fourth quarter, they're there to
Uh,
party, and then guess what? They go out until 7 a.m. in the morning the next day.
And then they
That's
leave
just
the arena
Miami. It's
arena
just
before
Miami.
right out crazy shot and try
Yeah,
to get back to the stadium.
clubs
it's
clubs are
just
open till 8,
Miami. It's
till
just
9 in the
Miami,
morning.
bro. All right. Now that the first round of the playoffs are over, we are going to give our finals predictions. All right. The finals predictions, winner and in the amount of games. I'll start with Jaden.
Ugh, I've not been looking forward to this part because I hate myself for saying this, but I can't. If the Lakers can make it past the Suns, I think they will be in the finals facing off against the Celtics. And I, this is crazy for me to say because all season I've been rooting against the Lakers and their trade deadline just turned everything around for me. I could see the Lakers winning in like 7. I know that sounds nuts, but they have a crazy rivalry. And LeBron, if he's in the finals, I don't see him wanting to lose against the Celtics. He knows how much that's going to mean to the Lakers organization. And all those players have really been hustling. Their defense has been on it. Jason Tatum choked in the finals heavy last year. So I'm not sure what to expect, but I can't believe I'm saying that. I think the Lakers could win the championship this year.
Oof, that's a crazy take, boss.
It's a
That
crazy
is a
take.
crazy take.
I'm
I
not
didn't
happy
expect
about
that out of you. You're a realist. I didn't expect that out of you.
Not happy about
That's crazy. Logan, what do you think?
Taking all that in right now. Taking
it.
all of it in. I think the Celtics will probably get there too. That was my prediction. I absolutely hate the Boston Celtics. I hate Andrew, a fellow member of our pod. He's a big Celtics fan. I don't like him. I think they're going to beat the Sixers and make the way to the finals. I think the Celtics win in 6. And then the finals from the West, who's pulling through? You got the Suns, the Warriors, and the Lakers. And I think I picked the Suns to get there. I had the Suns going all the way, and I got Suns winning the title in probably 6. We'll have to do it on their home court.
6?
Suns in 6.
All right.
Lakers, I love LeBron. I mean, I hope he gets that ring. It would really fortify him as
That would
probably
do
the GOAT.
something. That'd be
That'd be
crazy,
nuts.
dog.
It'd be
That
storybook
would
to do it
be,
against the Celtics too.
oh, would be nuts. Would be
I
absolutely
hate
nuts.
the Celtics. I didn't say it already. I hate the Celtics.
Mine's tough, to be honest with you. I am like you guys. I'm gonna go with the Celtics. Us three taking it can't be good for the odds, to be honest with you. It can't be.
Hope not.
Now that the
Heat are
three
gonna
of
beat
us
them.
just took the Celtics, something's gonna happen. Um, but I'll take the Celtics still. The West is tough, man. The West is tough. And I'm going to go against what I said earlier. All right. I think the Warriors make the finals. Um, I think
Warriors
they've
Celtic dream.
proven it. I think pedigree just takes over. If they can get through barring this King series, if they can't get past this King series, I'll choose the Suns. But barring this King series, if they can get past the Kings this series, damn, it's hard to not pick against them, especially while healthy. They're healthy. They're all healthy. They don't have any injuries. They don't have any depth issues either. They have the depth. They're proven. They have all of it. Yeah, man, it's tough to go against them. So I'll say Warriors, Celtics, and I'll go Celtics. I think they win it this year. I'll go Celtics in 6.
Some good
Yeah.
takes all around. I do think that the West, no matter what, is probably going to pull out this finals. Only because Joe Mazzulla, I think he's pretty inexperienced, and I think we saw a little bit of that inexperience in the Hawks series. That's why the Hawks kind of gave them more of a run for their money than we thought. Obviously, it doesn't all come down to coaching; it comes down to the guys on the floor. But we saw a choke job last year from Tatum. You could blame injury. I was gunning for the Celtics to be honest last year, mainly because I just loved their team. I love Robert Williams. It's
Ew.
crazy as a Knicks fan. I know. As a basketball fan, though, they were doing everything right the second half of that last year. Um, but yeah, I see the West winning no matter what this year.
All right, so we're gonna do blind resume. All right, I'm gonna show the guys a picture on the screen, stats of 2 players, and they're going to pick the player they'd rather have based on the stats. That is the point of this, so they don't see the player behind. We're gonna start with a pretty easy one. All right, Jaden, which player would you rather have, A or B?
So I mean, just based off the stats alone, I'd rather have B. I know one of these is Jimmy Butler. I'm starting to think it's B. Um,
All right, Logan, which player would you rather have, A or
Give
B?
me number, letter. I don't know. Give me Jimmy Butler. Give me letter A. I know his exact stat line, 59.7% field goal shooting. Give me fucking Jimmy buckets. I don't want anybody else.
A is Jimmy Butler, B is Devin Booker. All right, so
Sorry,
started with a pretty easy one. All right,
definitely.
we'll go
See,
Under
to
the bus.
Jimmy, no matter what, I would take, especially
all
because
right. So the last two I have are the hard ones. So this is the second one. This is also a pretty easy one, but pick the player you would rather have here. Jaden.
I would rather have. Ooh, the shooting percentage throws me off. I'll take A, even though they're shooting pretty not great from the field.
Okay, you'll
Seems
take
like they've done
A.
everything before.
Logan.
Just trying to think who this is. I feel like A might be Tatum or Brown, but 31 and a half a game. Give me that B. Give me B. I want B
All
guy.
right.
Who the hell is that?
A is De'Aaron Fox,
Oh
and
my
B is Steph Curry.
Wow,
God.
nice comparison. Steph all day. Chose B.
Crazy
Steph
comparison.
Steph
all
all day.
Awesome. All right,
Yeah.
the next two you'll like. I think the next two you guys will like.
You're gonna slip me RJ Barrett somewhere?
No. I didn't put any Knicks players actually, to be honest with you.
Oh, you spoiled it.
I should have, but I didn't.
Getting ahead of myself.
Okay. Start with Jaden. A or B?
Ooh. I think you got to go A here.
A?
Ooh, I don't know.
Okay.
It's close. I would go. Ooh, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'll pick A just for the fuck of it.
Okay. Logan.
Really no idea who these guys are. It can't be Sabonis. I'm gonna go with B for the assists. A little bit more assists on
Okay.
that side.
Okay. The top is Anthony Davis, and the bottom is LeBron.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting?
LeBron's
They
averaging
both
12.
they
LeBron's
average
Boy,
they
It's a
average
2020
together
game.
25 rebounds this series.
that's crazy.
That
is
isn't that crazy? That is crazy.
That's what happens when you put up a
LeBron.
2020 stat line. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right, last
Brownie
one I have
Brown.
for you guys. Last one.
Yeah.
This
Max
one,
putting in
this
work
one I
for
think you
us.
guys, this one I think you guys will like. This one was a good one. This one's an interesting one.
I was really thinking it was Sabonis on the bottom, even though I'm pretty sure he's not averaging that many points. That's why.
All right,
No.
top or A or B?
Gotta go A. That shooting on the bottom's abysmal.
Logan.
Gotta go A. Wiggins is in here though. It's gotta be Wiggins.
It is not Wiggins. A, or I'll tell you, B is James Harden. Do you guys want to guess who A is?
Is it Derek White?
A is Austin Reeves.
Wow.
That is the difference in their stat lines.
That's
Dude, I want
wild.
It is
Reeves-
very
Reeves
similar
over Hero.
to Reeves. Reeves is very similar to a Max player. Isn't that interesting? In the
Crazy.
playoffs, at least this series. And keep in mind, Embiid was out. Harden had the potential to go up and probably score a shit ton of points.
It was all
You know?
Maxey. It was all Tyrese.
Didn't Harden only
Crazy.
average like a few free throws per game too throughout that series?
Well,
Like a couple?
and he averaged a few free throws and he took a bunch of shots and he shot like shit.
I hate
It's
Harden
it's
in the
just
playoffs.
it's fraud, man. It's straight fraud.
It's fraudulent.
He's gonna have to get to the line if they're gonna want
I'll
any
do-
success in the Celtics.
I'll do more of those next time. That was fun and that was easy to put together, to be honest with you.
That was great, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Threw
cool.
me for the loop.
Thanks for watching the No Contest podcast. I hope you didn't think we were a whole bunch of idiots in this episode, but I appreciate you listening anyways and sticking through to this point. If you did stick through to this point, please follow us on everything. We could use a lot of followers. So, yeah, please follow us. Thank you.